Oh yeah, we're back. WEPA. Hey Nick, you know it's April, right? But it sure don't feel like spring yet, eh?
Yeah, it don't. I don't know. Mother Nature is showing us what really is in control.
You ain't kidding. The groundhog had it right. I still haven't stopped wearing my winter gear. It actually snowed yesterday here.
What? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
right. Upstate and over here, but it kind of felt like snow down here too. So that's just wrong. But I'm with you. Warm thoughts are on the way.
Yeah. In the meantime, we'll stay warm in the studio and get the April VOE party started. Welcome, everyone, to the VOE show. I'm your host, Eddie Martinez, and alongside me is my fabulous Baruch alumnus, Mr. Nick Luis. Oye, Nick.
Hey, hola everyone. ¿Cómo estás? Hi.
The VOE show brings you new, fresh info every month, positive vibes, and a piece of our cultura. Dale. The VOE show can be streamed on demand at pusocentro.com and now on the Puso Centro app. Download it on your smart device and don't forget to follow Puso Centro on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Pues vámonos, Nick. Let's go.
Hey, let's do it.
So, Nick, how was March? Oh man, winter has not ended. Did you do anything interesting or fun? It flew by so fast, for sure. That's for
It
sure.
flew by so fast. I call March Madness every single
Mm-hmm.
year. So
Mm-hmm.
it just like that transition from winter to spring and just everything kind of culminates or whatever. It's just a lot sometimes. But at work we have a spirit week. So it's a whole week full of like different events that we do for the kiddos.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
My favorite, yeah, it's really cool. So we try to like fill in some like really good activities for them. But one of my favorites is the color wars. So each group is designated a different color, and each they're in a team, and they have to do like a scavenger hunt throughout the building, and then they do like physical activities in the backyard, and whoever wins the most points gets a pizza party, of course.
Oh, I'd definitely be
So
winning that.
last year, right, yeah, last year was second grade, but this year fourth grade won. So I try to keep it balanced between all groups since I see pre-K to five, and pre-K was our cheerleader, so that was really cute. And then I did a 48-hour theater festival at the Barrow Group. It was the Fast Play Frenzy. And so it takes directors, writers, actors, all randomly. We don't know each other. We don't know how anything is happening. And we literally have 48 hours to present an original piece. So we
That
meet Friday
sounds
night
so
and by
interesting.
Sunday night.
My daughter actually had like a thing like that in her high school. Like they did like a weekend of playwrights, they called it. And they all
Mhm.
sat down like writing. Like I don't know how many hours
Oh,
they were writing on Saturday. And then
yeah.
they would perform it like Sunday. That was really
Yeah, it would be
cool.
Sunday night would be the performance. So it was so something similar to that. It was really fun, really intense, madness, of course.
Did you
But it's
direct
good
or
to like,
act?
oh, I acted, so it's good to exercise like my acting muscle.
Awesome.
Since I'm like separating into different categories, like being a writer, a director, a producer. But it also reminded me of how much I love to act. So it was a really good
That's
weekend. So that was
cool.
like my March in a nutshell.
That's
So,
cool.
but what about you? Tell me about you.
Well,
How was March?
me,
Yeah.
I'm finally back 100% from my back injury and the food poisoning. You know, the March Madness nightmare I had. It took a bit, but I stood the course. I stood the course with my regimen of PT, and a little self care. Right? What's our mantra, Nick? What's our mantra?
Oh, health is wealth,
That's right.
always.
That's right.
You can't take care of others if you don't take care of yourself first. You're number one. So
Facts,
yeah.
which is exactly what we love to do, right? We both love to give and help others through the arts, through education, and there's
Mhm.
there's no better feeling than giving. It fills our cup.
No, for sure, for
Mm-hmm.
sure,
Mm-hmm.
facts. Especially, with the elders and our next generation. So
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
that, like, how are your kids doing, by the way?
Well, it's never ending. The ups and downs of parenthood. I call it lifing. And those who know, right? Those who have parents, who have parented, who have kids, it can sometimes weigh heavily for a parent. I'm realizing that as an older parent with experience raising kids and teenagers and daughters in college and daughters that are married. It can weigh heavily, but you just gotta have faith that one day at a time and things will be okay. And yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It sure does.
Hmm.
But you handle it really well, just letting you know.
Thank
So,
you,
but
thank you.
just remember self-care when you have to. You can't have to take care of yourself too,
Yep,
you know?
yep,
So,
yep. I'm
yeah.
squeezing in my 20-minute naps here and there, And when my mind and body needs to shut down, I definitely listen to my body. And I'm always watching what I eat because running around to soccer tournaments every weekend can cause you sometimes to eat out a lot. So I try to make the good choices.
For sure. No, good for you.
Hmm.
And you do have your annual physical soon too.
That's right, exactly. And my goal is always to walking down from last year. So so far I'm about 10 to 12 pounds lighter from last year, believe it or not.
Okay. Oh, good to
Yeah, so
go. Yeah.
trying to squeeze out maybe another 2 or 3 over the next 2 months. Now that I'll be able to do some outdoor activities if the winter goes away. So,
Please.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But that's still amazing, of course. Keep up the good work and please share with us the final outcomes when you do go.
Yep,
So
absolutely. I'll give you all the blood results and all TMI, everything, right? We got to check the oil and make sure there's no hidden issues, right? So we'll do that. And this is actually a great segue into our topics this month. So let's jump into it. Like, first and
do it.
foremost, everyone, April is Cancer Awareness Month, Nick. So tell our listeners about, the what and why of Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah, yeah, I got you. So in 2024, Mr. President Biden designated April as National Cancer Prevention and Early Detection Month. This month is dedicated to raising awareness about cancer, promoting early detection, and encouraging cancer screenings. Organizations and the cancer prevention community promote routine cancer screenings so everyone can achieve better health outcomes.
Yes. It's important. It's important for everyone to be aware and get checked often, to detect cancer early. If you detect it early, it definitely can be beat. So let's look at some tips and healthy habits to be mindful of as we put cancer prevention front and center this April. So Nick, what are some things you found out for us? What are some things our community can do?
Yeah, I got you. So the number one would be to know as much as possible about your family's health history and to share that with your doctor. Many diseases are hereditary, unfortunately, but when you know this, your doctor can be on the lookout for red flags and abnormal lab results or symptoms you may be feeling, and get those recommended cancer screenings where doctors advise them, such as checking for prostate cancer and breast cancer routinely. So early detection is key, basically.
That's right. That's right. And sadly, like prostate cancer, that's something that can easily be mitigated and dealt with early on. And sometimes there's a machismo about getting checked for prostate cancer, believe it or not. So, you men out there, you're loved, you're needed in your family. Get checked out. Get checked out, and our women as well. Breast
Yeah.
cancer is something that can easily be taken care of early on. So do your annual checkups, check in with your doctors, and do your mammograms. And sadly, cancer and heart issues run in my family and many families, and so I'm very mindful about it and trying to walk in my abuela's healthy chancletas, as I call it. She lived to 99, Nick.
Oh, what? 99? Oh, gee, that's amazing. Look
Yep,
at that.
yep, yep. Abuela had no vices and didn't let the stresses get her sick. So my doctor, he knows all about our family, our family history, physical and mental. I don't hold back. I tell him everything, and I check in with him every year. So
Mm,
everyone on that's listening, make sure you do that too. Don't let time go by and not get checked. So, what's the next item
right.
on your list, Nick?
Yeah, no, for sure. The number two is to avoid or limit alcohol consumption, which long term can cause liver damage, heart disease, and even stroke.
Yes, it's sad,
Um,
but I've seen that play out unfortunately as well. Like how excessive alcohol use ages you, so much faster,
for
and then
sure.
little by little it creates problems, and until there's a whole bunch of problems. I limit myself to an occasional glass of Malbec red wine. Nick, like red wine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm bougie. I like my Malbec red wine, but red wine is known to have antioxidants and lowers bad cholesterol. And believe it or not, that's another thing. Like cholesterol is something Latinos have to get under control, especially
Fact.
high cholesterol. You know, and
That's
it can
so
be
real.
done. It can be done without having to go to the doctor and be told to take statin drugs, Nick.
Yeah, that's right. You were going to be on stand last year's, right?
And I pressed the pause button on that with my doctor. And I changed up my diet, started eating more fiber, beans, lentils, nuts, oats, and just maintaining, for the most part, a low fat diet. And
Mm,
voila, My cholesterol went down 50 points, man, 50 points. And, don't get it twisted. I still enjoy foods, but diet and exercise is the best self care anyone can do for themselves, right?
No, facts. No, facts. I definitely agree. And removing vices from your life
Mm-hmm.
too, which is leading me to number three on the list, which is don't use tobacco or vape.
Exacto. I mean, there's so much that has been published about negative effects of smoking. It has even
Hmm.
been banned in public places like restaurants, airports, clearly because of the secondhand smoke affecting others. So it's clear, like the poison putting into your body are slowly killing cells. So if you've been thinking about quitting, here's your motivational speech to do so. And studies show, all right, studies show that smokers who quit can add 10 years to their lives, Nick. You believe that? And those who
Yeah.
quit before age 40 can expect to live nearly as long as those who never smoked. So say it with me, Nick. Quit, quit,
Quit,
quit,
quit,
quit,
quit.
quit. That's right. Dale. So what's number 4 on your list, Nick?
Number four is protect your skin from the sun, which seems so easy to do, yet people take it for granted, like me.
I mean, I love a great day at the lake or the beach.
No, facts. Yeah.
But I certainly use sunblock, even though I have that nice Caribbean island olive skin. But you
Yes.
can still get skin cancer from too much sun exposure. Do you use sunblock, Nick?
Yeah, I definitely use sunblock. I love getting vitamin D too, but you have to be careful. Too much of anything is never good. Sometimes I put a little bit of bronzer in there, but shh, not too much.
Look at you, look at you. Yeah, I'm like one of the tourists. I like wearing these big sun hats on the beach.
Oh,
you know,
no, I love
but
that. I
but like
love
you
that.
said, I mean, everything should be in moderation. Everything should be in moderation. Too much of anything is never good.
For
So,
sure.
Nick, how about food and eating habits? Like, what is
Oh,
recommended?
yeah, that's a good one. So number five on the list is to eat more of a plant-based diet. So eat lots of fruits, vegetables, beans, and whole grains. Try to limit red meat and foods high in salt and cut out processed meats, like turkey, bologna, salami. Also, we should avoid drinks with added sugar. Three servings of vegetables and two of fruit daily result in a 10% lower risk of death from cancer.
Wow, I'm doing
Mhm.
good with the lentil and the
Yeah,
beans and whole grains, and I love steamed veggies. So, and I love me some eggplant too. Do you like salty foods, Nick?
I do. I mean, I like a nice like salted pretzel.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of salty things, and I don't indulge in much red meat anymore. Only on occasion, like I used to love a good like filet mignon steak with mashed potatoes.
Mm.
Back in my 20s and 30s. Now I'm all in on sweet potato, chicken breast, eggplant again. Yum 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 yum. But it's hard, right? Because I do love me some bread once in a while, right? Who doesn't like bread? And
Bread is
but
delicious.
you know what I do, right? I have it with like a veggie sub on whole wheat,
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, on whole wheat instead of regular bread. I use whole wheat. And of course, come on, you got to treat yourself. So I do have my slice of New York pizza every now and then. Who's going to give that up?
I mean, New York pizza is life.
Mm-hmm,
Can't live
mm-hmm.
without it. Or any good New York bagel, like a bacon, egg, and cheese. I
Ah, you
mean,
just killed it with the BECs, bacon, egg, and cheese. Yeah, we love it, love it, love it. So,
but yeah, as long as we do number six on the list,
what's number
is
6?
maintain a healthy weight and be physically active. So, you shared a lot on this, Eddie. We don't have to live in the gym. Just create, a 30 to 45 routine and stick to it, right?
Yes, yes. Commit to your 6,000 to 8,000 steps and then work in other things that you like to do, like jump rope, boxing, hula hoop, and be disciplined to do it several times a week. Dancing is fun too. Like, dancing burns a lot of calories. Oh, and outdoor work in the yard and gardening this time of year. It's like so therapeutic and burns calories too, right? So
Yeah, no,
great
for
great
sure. For
idea,
sure.
great idea.
Yeah. This next one in the list is for obviously this is all educational. Number seven is practice safe sex and avoid risky behaviors.
Yep, yep. That kind of speaks for itself, right? There's a lot of bad stuff out there. We hear on the news about fentanyl and opiate addiction and bad things that we know have impacted our society. So stay away from bad influences or anyone messing around with bad things. You don't need that in your life.
No, facts. Yeah, we want
Mm-hmm.
people to live long.
That's right.
So if you are dealing with addiction or know someone who is.
Mm-hmm.
which is leads me to number 8. Get vaccinated against HPV, hepatitis B, and other common diseases.
Yes, some of the best work has been done by scientists over many years of studying the human body and bacterial illnesses. And yet we still have those who don't get immunized for diseases like the measles. I
Oh,
mean,
yes.
I know everybody's been kind of following what's going on, and it's very sad to watch a young kid die from a preventable disease. This is great stuff, Nick. We have to be mindful of, taking care of ourselves. And, this month is Cancer Awareness Month, so clearly go out and do your screenings. And surely, we want to see people live longer lives and, have impact in their kids' future and doing things for their life purpose. So great stuff, Nick. Great stuff.
Yeah, so the next topic is National Autism Acceptance Month. So this month celebrates and honors the experiences and identities of autistic individuals. It emphasizes understanding, inclusion, and support, moving beyond awareness towards meaningful acceptance. And the two core autism symptoms are challenges with social communication and interaction skills, and restricted and repetitive behaviors.
You know, Up until us bringing up this topic, I had
Mhm.
very little, knowledge in that I've learned about autism. So tell me, are there different levels to it?
Yeah, autism is a fairly new type of illness that's been diagnosed. So it's kind of like 20 to 30 years old in a way. So it's very new, very, still being studied and having, levels that you talked about. So it can vary from level 1, which is requiring support, to level 3, requiring very substantial support. So children and adults with autism may have difficulty in one of these three. So social interactions, communication, and developing, maintaining, and understanding relationships.
Wow. But how do they diagnose this, Nick?
So to get an autism diagnosis, a person must show at least two types of behaviors. So this is 2 out of 4 that is must be shown in order to get a diagnosis. So repetitive movements, play or speech patterns, instance on sameness and need for routine, intense and highly focused interest, and under or oversensitivity to sensory stimulation.
I see two bullets here, and it makes me wonder. Like, I never really understood autism again, and now I see, like, insistence for routine and intense, highly focused, and I realize that some in the spectrum can they be very high performing and high functioning, Nick?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Autism, just like anything else in life, is a spectrum. So it like ebbs and flows, and it goes like on this like I call it like this line of where it's like placed. And many people also show other characteristics of autism. And I work with young people every day, and I come into contact with young people who have autism, and they all are very different. So some of the things might include using other kinds of communication besides spoken language, like typing on a computer or iPad, pointing to pictures on a tablet, difficulty with executive functioning, like planning how to complete a task or juggling multiple tasks. Some have trouble with fine motor skills and coordination. Some may need help with daily living skills. And in some cases, there is difficulty regulating emotions, sometimes resulting in sensory overload and meltdowns or even shutdowns.
Wow, this is so interesting. So are there any typical blind spots to be aware of when trying to diagnose autism?
Yeah. So there's sometimes the challenge of masking autism symptoms. So some autistic people suppress or even hide their autism symptoms in order to be accepted in social settings. Because remember, autism is a form of social anxiety illness. So this is called masking or camouflaging. Masking might look like pushing through your sensory discomfort in a loud room or forcing eye contact during a conversation. Research shows that masking is more common in girls and in women, and it can cause mental health issues. So, for more information on this type of information, you can check out autismsociety.org/autism acceptance month.
I myself am going to kind of watch this over the next couple years, because I'm wondering if, at least over the last couple years after the pandemic, how
Mhm.
social media has driven a lot of, I guess, mental health issues.
Yeah.
And there have been studies that these issues have impacted, like you just mentioned, young girls, women more. And I'm wondering if there's going to be a higher instance of autism cases per se. So I'm gonna be really, really like reading up on this and kind of watching this in the future, because you won't hear about it until studies and research is done, 3, 4 years from now, because they'll look back and look at the trends and determine, where did things change drastically. And I think we're gonna see some of that if you kind of think about how the pandemic and social media has caused a lot of anxiety in young
Right.
women and young girls. So
Right, right,
great
right.
stuff, Nick. Great stuff. This was amazing, amazing. We're just about out of time, so every single
Mhm.
month, we like to select for our listeners a famous quote from someone Latino, and we never want to leave without some positive vibes, right, Nick?
Yep, absolutely. Our quote this month is from the famous and fabulous Dominican fashion designer, the late Oscar de la Renta.
Dale.
And the quote is, "Your great strength is knowing who you are."
Yes, yes,
Snap,
yes,
snap.
yes, yes. Once you know who you are and find
Mhm.
your purpose, you'll always be happy no matter what. No matter what
Absolutely.
challenges life presents you, right, Nick?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like having your inner core and knowing who you are is the greatest success you'll always have in
That's
life.
right. You don't have to have a lot of money. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have a lot of friends. You just find your purpose, and know who you are, and you'll give everyone your best self if you do that. So you know what, Nick? I You said Oscar de la Renta, and it just reminded me of something. You're gonna laugh, but I used to throw on some of Oscar de la Renta's men's fragrance when I was hitting the New York City nightclubs back in my college days at Baruch.
Yes, as you should, as you
The
should.
fun times, man. The fun times. Dale, dale, dale. And you know what, Nick? I think that wraps us up for this month. So we have to say goodnight, Nick.
All right, good night, everyone. We'll see you
That's right. Good night,
soon.
everyone. See you next time when it warms up outside.
Yes, facts.
This is the VOE show. Good night.